Hey, what's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome into Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something we don't talk about. My name is Matt.
My name is Dyl, and today we get to talk about one of the best movies of 2023 so far. That is Ben Affleck's new movie, Air, and he's back in the director's chair after a short break. And to me, he's never missed. Yes, Live by Night may not be loved by many, but it's loved by me. And that does not stop here with Air. Overall, I thought this was a blast. It's very engaging, very fast-paced, and very funny. But Matt, what were some of your first thoughts with Air?
I agree mostly with you. I like Affleck as a director. Argo is magnificent, in my opinion. I think it's a great Best Picture winner. Not huge on The Town or Gone Baby Gone. I've never seen Live by Night, so I'm kind of indifferent on Affleck as a director. I, in December, read the screenplay of Air. It's floating around out there on the web, on the internet. I wrote off the film. I went, oh, this is like a 6 out of 10 screenplay. But I heard that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were rewriting the script, and I think it paid off. The movie is fantastic. Affleck and Damon rewrote it with such wit and humor. I was laughing throughout, which I never did reading the script. I thought this movie was hilarious. The issue with the script was that it felt so stuck in boardrooms and it got really stale, and I never felt like that was a problem in this movie. It never felt stale to me. It always felt exciting. It always felt energetic. It's a blast. It's the ultimate dad movie. It makes me want to get out and get on a court. I don't play basketball, but it makes me want to go play basketball. It makes me want to recommend it to my dad. It makes me want to run around recommending it to every dad that I see. Hey, are you a dad? Go see Air. It's as good as everyone's saying.
I also love this movie, so I'm glad to hear you say that's my second favorite of the year. But one of the things I love most about Air is its ensemble of all-stars. I mean, the MVP, in my mind, is Matt Damon. He's unanimous, at least, to me. Career high, leading performance. He's authentic, he's versatile, and he gets to showcase his talents as an actor that's not in a cryptocurrency ad that most people have known him for the last few years. To me, Affleck is also continuing his trend of stealing scenes in just various minor roles. Last Duel, best part of that movie. Tinder Bar, possibly should have been an Oscar-nominated role. I think he's really good here as well. Jason Bateman and Chris Tucker both supply some great comedic moments, fill out this Fab Four for Nike. And you can't get Michael Jordan without getting his mom, Viola Davis. I think is very strong. And she delivers a very different type of performance in this role. Like, she's not very bold, very loud, very in your face. She's more laid back, more reserved, which I think very much just helps this movie overall.
Mm-hmm. I agree with most of what you're saying on the performances. I would agree that Matt Damon absolutely killed it. He's just so solid in every scene, and something that he does so well is that every monologue is just golden. I think he's going to be in the Oscar conversation all year long, and if he doesn't get nominated, he's going to be number 6. He's going to be the Tom Cruise of this year, where if he's not nominated, he's right behind. But I think he will. We'll get into Oscar chances a little bit later, but I think he will get nominated. Then Viola Davis, as you mentioned, she's also very, very good. Her role doesn't show a ton of range, but she's quiet, compelling, strong, and she's interesting to watch. She's Viola Davis. She's always interesting to watch. I'm not sure if she'd get nominated for this in most years, but there's an argument for her getting nominated after last year's controversy where she got quote-unquote snubbed for the Woman King. I think that there's an argument for her here. Scene stealers for me. I wouldn't call Ben Affleck a scene stealer personally, but I would say Jason Bateman, when he did his monologue about his kid, that's a scene-stealing moment for me when he's talking about how he buys his daughter Nike shoes every week. That's a scene stealer. As well, every phone call with Chris Messina playing Michael Jordan's agent, oh my God, what a riot. That was so funny. Like the phone call where he's just screaming at him, like, how dare you? I'm going to chew on your nuts. I'm going to smash your nuts and I'm going to chew on your ball sack. Like, it's incredible. What a good scene. But yeah, I felt indifferent to Affleck as an actor here. I didn't think he was bad. I didn't think he really was great either. He was just kind of there. I was like, yeah, you're good. Chris Tucker was fun.
Yeah.
This is a SAG Ensemble movie.
It's my personal SAG winner of the year so far, and Matt Damon's very up there as well. We'll talk Oscars here in a little bit, but yes, Chris Mencia was great in that little spark plug off the bench type role, and I really like Marlon Wayans in this too. He's in like one scene, but you get to see him do drama, which I don't know the last time I saw Marlon Wayans do drama good. But he was good in this movie. But talking about Affleck, I think we can at least agree that his direction on this movie was very well. I loved the style that he kind of just dropped us into 1984, whether that was the music, the props, the costumes, the hair, and even some of like the camera techniques. It just felt like, hey, this is a blast from the past. It's not like I'm watching a 2023 movie about the past. And I just really love that about his direction in Air.
I agree. I think Ben Affleck always shines when he's a director, just at doing what he needs to. He's not a flashy auteur who's going to be showering you with style. You don't watch a Ben Affleck movie and see a Ben Affleck movie. You watch a Ben Affleck movie and see a movie. Mm-hmm. You know, there's no flashiness. There's no flourishes. It just does what it needs to. And I gotta say, I was surprised at how stylish the cinematography was. I really loved the shifts in focus between two characters, specifically in the scene where Matt Damon is talking to Marlon Wayans at the bar, and it shifts between the two of them with the focus. That was so well done. The use of long lenses is also really interesting. The way that it will barely move on someone's face and the background will be blurring behind them. So cool as the background shifts and they barely shift at all. I don't like 80s music. There's a bit too much 80s music in this. I think 80s music is boring as shit. I talked about that when we talked about Top Gun. I think 80s music is so boring. The soundtrack is pretty stacked here, and there's some great choices. But for every great choice, there's another choice that makes me go, oh yeah, this is why I hate the 80s. But the editing was fun.
I was going to say, I agree with you with 80s music not being my cup of tea, but like you said, some of those needle drops are just like what exactly you need in that moment.
Time after time? You kidding me? That's great. What a good choice for that moment. That was so good. But yeah, I thought the editing was fun, kept the pace up. I do think it dragged a little bit in the middle when he's kind of trying to sign Michael Jordan, and it kind of goes in circles a little bit, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting for the thing to happen. It does drag a little bit, but it's still, the editing is good. It's brisk. It keeps the pace up. What were some of the tech aspects otherwise that you really loved about Air?
So the biggest one would probably just have to be the editing. I've seen some people online say they don't like how the film's edited. Like you said, I feel like this movie blows by. Like it starts and you're at the end and it feels like it's an hour, even though it's been an hour 40. And I really like the music supervision, as I mentioned before. While I'm not a huge fan of 80s music, I thought most of those needle drops were exactly what you need in the moment to add energy, to add sadness, to add whatever you're supposed to be feeling in that moment. And this isn't a tech aspect, but I just have to say again how much I just love the ensemble here. In a just world, without knowing what's coming for the next 6 months, this is a SAG Ensemble nominee.
Well, but let's get into Oscar chances. We are an Oscar channel. We predict the Oscars. What do we think these chances are?
Floor, original screenplay nomination. Ceiling, screenplay, Damon, picture. I personally don't see the angle for Viola Davis, but I guess in a realistic world, she has a shot to get nominated, and the editing as well. So that's a max of 5 nominees, a floor of 1. I'd be very shocked if this does miss screenplay, especially after our episode a few weeks ago where we talked about the screenplay categories, and I said, original looks a little weak to me, and here's a new contender for that original screenplay slot.
It's true, original does look a little bit weak, and this is totally getting in. The question I always ask with these early contenders, because I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, well, is this movie going to be remembered at the end of next year? I saw it last year with Elvis. I mean, I think we said it with Elvis, like, oh, are we going to be remembering this at the end of the year? And the question that you got to ask yourself is, would this have been nominated last year? I think so. I think that this would have been in Best Picture last year. I think that this would have been nominated in 2021. Probably would have taken, like, King Richard's slot. I think it would have been nominated in 2020. And I think it would have been nominated in 2019. So if it is a strong enough film to have potentially made the lineup in all of those other years, why would it not be a strong enough film to make it in this year? Yes, we don't know the other contenders, but do we really believe that this year is going to have a much stronger lineup than any of these past years when Air probably would have made it in?
See, I don't know if I necessarily agree it would be in all those lineups. I think more so of looking at the Best Picture lineup, you look at what Amazon has here to campaign for the rest of the year. And I've seen people say, oh, they have Saltburn, but you and I both mentioned first-time directing nominees or first-time directors getting nominations next movie aren't always hits with the Academy, and so that could suffer. And I feel like this is probably Amazon's best bet for the Oscars. Yes, it's coming out way too early, but it's one that people are seeing now with no other Oscar contenders out. They can latch onto it, and at the end of the year, you resend out the screeners, you resend out the campaign tour, and then you're back like you never left. And like to me, like looking at last year, if I'm looking at for the nominations, does he get in the picture? What does it take out? Triangle, I guess. Original screenplay, I guess you also take triangle slot. Actor, Damon could be our fifth, and there you go. That's that package. Could be in the picture. The COVID year, definitely in. I don't know if this would take King Richard's spot just because Will Smith was so strong, but maybe
it's
it could
the
take
same
out something
type of
else.
movie.
Yeah,
It could take out something else, but it's the same type of movie. I don't know. I think you also have to look at like who would the voters be, and I think that if this was released last year, it would be a lot of the voters that went for Elvis or Top Gun would vote for something like Air. And when you think about this year, what else are that type of voter? The people that voted Elvis last year, the people that voted Top Gun last year, what are they going to vote for? And Air feels really strong for that. It feels like it has a profile that works for this. And I don't know. I always think the argument of, oh, are people going to remember it at the end of the year? I've made this argument in the past. I think that the Oscar season is dead now. I think that Amazon has noticed what A24 did successfully last year, which is you release a movie early, you let it build up hype, you release it on streaming when it's built up that hype, and then because it's out there in the world and people can watch it at any time, it never leaves the conversation. Gone are the days where something leaves the theaters and it leaves the conversation. You can keep that momentum going, and I think that's what Amazon's trying to do. They're releasing it when there are no other Oscar contenders, so that this one stands out, and it's going to be pushed the entire year long. You're going to see this on your Amazon homepage all year.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point there about how they release it in theaters first, because I've seen people, to detract Air, say, oh, Amazon did this last year, 13 Lies. 13 Lies didn't hit theaters first. It was straight to Amazon Prime. This is at least getting a month or so in theaters to get the buzz, and the box office seems like it's doing pretty well. Will it be a financial success? Who knows, but it's making money. People are seeing it. And then it's going to go to Amazon Prime in like a month or two, and then more people will see it. And then that will continue throughout the rest of the year, and then come when the NBA season starts back up. And Oscar season of October, November, when the typical Oscar movies are released, this gets an extra buzz, and then we're right back. And with having, I think screenplay is probably the most important nomination you have for picture, and this seems pretty good for at least a screenplay nomination.
I will say, though, I think that the biggest detriment and argument against this movie is what's the package for it, right? Is it really going to last the entire year with such a small package? Because the max that I can see for this, this is the absolute ceiling, and I don't think it's going to get all of these, but the ceiling is picture, actor, screenplay, supporting actors, editing. That's 5 nominations tops, max. The floor, like you said, is just a screenplay nomination. I think it's going to be 3 or 4, but still, is it really going to last the entire year with just that package?
If I were to make a bold claim now, I would say this gets 3. I would say it's original screenplay. I would say it's Matt Damon. I would say it's picture. It's this year's Triangle of Sadness or Women Talking in terms of nominations. It's a little light on the nominations, but it's enough to get into that 10th slot where obviously Women Talking won adapted, but Triangle of Sadness was definitely 5th in original and director. And Air could be that. It could be number 5 in actor. It could be number 5 in original screenplay. But that's 2 major nominees, plus it being a movie certainly directed into a different audience than the rest of our movies are this year. Kind of like Triangle was for the international audience. This is for more of the Top Gun voters, the Elvis voters, as you mentioned. People who are maybe a little bit older, but do like those feel-good, lighthearted type, easy to watch movies. And at least going through our best picture lines that we've had, Color Purple is a musical, but it's a darker musical. Killers of the Flower Moon is a very dark movie. Dune's a big blockbuster, but it's also a dark movie. May December fits as well. And like from I think our consensus top 10, the only one that also felt like a feel-good movie would be The Holdovers. So there's always more than just one feel-good movie, and this would make two.
Yeah, there has to be something that people can cheer for. They're not just going to go for the critic stuff that people like.
But critics
to think
do love
to.
this movie as well.
Critics do love this movie, but they're not just going to go for the cold critic movies. You can't have an entire lineup filled with Tar. You need to also have Top Gun. You need to also have Elvis. You need the balance between the feel-good and the intellectual. And this is the feel-good. I really think we have an Oscar contender on our hands here, and if it's not in your top 10, it should be in your top 15. I will not move this lower than number 12 all season long. That's my floor for this, because at the end of the year, if I think about it, there's no way this is not in... Like, if this doesn't get a nomination, there's no way it's not next in line. Think about the path. Is this getting nominated at the Globes? Yes, it's getting nominated at the Globes. Is this getting nominated at the Critics' Choice? Yes, it's getting nominated at the Critics' Choice. Is this making PGA? Yes. So why will it not make the Oscars?
I think that's a great point to end on right here. It has that easy path. It's just, does it finish at the end? And I feel like just like the executives in this movie, they're going to pull out that deal and they're going to get that nomination.
Exactly. And even better note to end this on, it's not winning shit.
Yes. Probably not. I don't see an angle because original screenplay, unless this is a Best Picture frontrunner, no. Damon is great, but it's not winning great. And we both said Viola Davis is good, but it's not like a career turn.
Exactly. You know, it's one that I think has a strong contender for 3 to 4 nominations and 0 wins.
Sad times, but there always has to be a Best Picture nominee that gets no wins.
Or 5 of them.
Yeah, or 5 of them. But with all that being said, let us know down below. Did you like Air? Where does this rank in your all-time favorite sports movies? Do you believe this is a Best Picture player or just a screenplay nomination? But until next time, my name is Dyl.
And my name is Matt, and this is Fantasy Filmball.